The afternoon sun filtered through the oak trees lining our driveway as I pulled up to the house. Wednesday, 2:30 p.m. I wasn't supposed to be home. The quarterly business review at Henderson Manufacturing had been canceled last minute. Some crisis with the CEO's schedule. 42 years I'd worked there, starting as a floor supervisor, retiring last year as VP of Operations. Good pension, excellent benefits, a lifetime of steady, careful planning. I'd built something. Not flashy, but solid. The house in Westchester, paid off 15 years ago. The investment accounts Marcus helped me set up when he married my daughter Rebecca 5 years back. The life insurance policies. The modest stock portfolio. Everything totaling about $2.8 million. Not wealthy by New York standards, but comfortable, secure, enough to leave Rebecca and her brother Daniel something substantial when Elizabeth and I were gone. Elizabeth, my wife of 43 years, the woman who'd stood beside me through promotions and layoffs, through Daniel's difficult teenage years and Rebecca's expensive wedding, through my mother's slow decline into dementia and the cancer scare that turned out to be nothing, the woman I trusted more than anyone in the world. I grabbed my briefcase from the passenger seat and headed toward the front door. The house was a colonial style for bedrooms, the kind of place we dreamed about when we were newlyweds living in that cramped apartment in Queens. We'd moved here 35 years ago, watched our kids grow up in these rooms, hosted countless dinners and holidays and celebrations. I put my key in the lock as quietly as possible. Elizabeth would be surprised to see me home early. Maybe we'd go out for an early dinner, that Italian place she loved in town. The door opened silently. I stepped into the foyer, setting my briefcase down, and that's when I heard her voice from the kitchen. Elizabeth on the phone, laughing. That familiar, warm laugh I'd heard 10,000 times. But then the words. No. The old man has no idea we drained his accounts. Marcus transferred everything last week. Just keep pretending everything's normal. I froze, my hand still on the door handle. My breath caught in my throat. The old man. She was talking about me. I know, Elizabeth continued, her voice bright, almost giddy. It was easier than I thought. He signs whatever I put in front of him. Doesn't even read it anymore. Just trust me. A pause. Someone responding on the other end. Then Elizabeth again. Rebecca's handling the real estate. She's got a buyer lined up for the house already. We just need to get him to sign the deed transfer. Marcus drafted it to look like estate planning documents. Once that's done, we can move forward with the rest. My legs felt weak. I leaned against the wall, hidden in the hallway's shadow, listening to my wife of 43 years discuss dismantling my life. Daniel's nervous, she said, her tone shifting slightly. Keeps asking if we're sure this will work. I told him to grow a spine. His father is 68 years old. He's not going to suddenly become financially savvy now. He'll sign whatever we need him to sign. Another pause. The nursing home? Yes, we looked at a few. There's one in New Jersey that's cheap enough. Once we have control of everything, we'll move him there, tell him it's for his own good, that we're worried about his health. He'll go along with it. He always does what we tell him. The world tilted. The nursing home. They were planning to put me in a nursing home so they could take everything. How much? Elizabeth's laugh again. With the house, the investments, the life insurance policies, we're looking at close to $3 million. Split 4 ways between me, Rebecca, Marcus, and Daniel. Not bad for a few months of work. Not bad. $3 million. My life's work. Reduced to not bad. I stood in that hallway for what felt like hours, but was probably only seconds. My heart pounded so hard, I thought she'd hear from the kitchen. My hand shook. 43 years. 43 years of marriage, of partnership, of building a life together. And she was calling me the old man. I have to go, Elizabeth said. He might come home early. Can't be too careful. I'll call you tonight after he's asleep. Love you too, Rebecca. Rebecca, our daughter, the little girl I carried on my shoulders, taught to ride a bike, walked down the aisle. She was in on this too. I heard Elizabeth's footsteps approaching the kitchen doorway. In a split second, I made a decision. I grabbed my briefcase, stepped back outside as quietly as I'd entered, closed the door, then immediately opened again, this time loudly. "Elizabeth!" I called out, my voice steady despite the earthquake happening inside my chest. "I'm home early. Meeting got canceled." I heard her sharp intake of breath from the kitchen. Then, almost immediately, her warm, familiar voice. "Oh, honey, what a nice surprise. I'm just finishing up some calls. Give me a minute." I walked into the living room and sat down heavily on the couch. My couch, in my house, that apparently my daughter had already found a buyer for. Elizabeth appeared a moment later, smiling, wearing the blue sweater I bought her for Christmas. She leaned down and kissed my cheek, the same cheek she kissed every day for 43 years. "How was your morning?" she asked, settling into the chair across from me. "Fine," I said, uneventful. I looked at her, really looked at her, trying to see the woman who'd just been on the phone, plotting to drain my accounts and dump me in a cheap nursing home in New Jersey. But all I saw was Elizabeth. My Elizabeth, the woman I'd built a life with. Except she wasn't my Elizabeth anymore. Maybe she never had been. "Are you feeling all right?" she asked, concern crossing her face. "You look pale." "Just tired," I said. "Long morning." "Well, rest up. Daniel and Rebecca are coming for dinner tonight. I'm making pot roast. Your favorite." Of course they were coming for dinner. Probably bringing more papers for me to sign. More documents I wouldn't read, wouldn't question, would just trust and sign because I trusted my family. The old man has no idea. Just keep pretending. "That sounds nice," I said. Elizabeth smiled and went back to the kitchen. I sat there, staring at nothing, my mind racing. $3 million. The house. Everything. They were taking everything. And using my own trust, my own love for them, as the weapon to do it. I pulled out my phone. Searched for a state lawyer near me. Found one with good reviews. Patricia Simmons, 30 years of experience. Specialized in elder law and financial abuse. Her office was 20 minutes away. I called. The receptionist answered. "I need to see Miss Simmons as soon as possible," I said quietly. "It's urgent. It's about my family stealing from me." A pause. Then, "Can you come in at 4 p.m. today?" "Yes." "See you then, Mr. Harrison." "Robert Harrison." I hung up and sat there, listening to Elizabeth hum in the kitchen as she prepared dinner for the children who were helping her rob me blind. If this story is resonating with you, if you've ever felt the weight of discovering that the people closest to you are betraying your trust, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Wilken Vengeance. Comment below and tell us where you're watching from. And if you're comfortable, share your own story. Sometimes knowing we're not alone in these experiences is the only thing that gets us through them. Your story matters. Your voice matters. I had 90 minutes until my appointment. 90 minutes to sit in this house and pretend everything was normal. 90 minutes to be the old man who has no idea. But I knew now. I knew everything. And I was going to make them regret every word they'd spoken. I stood up, walked to my home office, and closed the door. Opened my laptop. Started pulling up financial documents. Bank statements. Investment accounts. Property deeds. Everything I could find. And that's when I saw it. The accounts weren't just drained. They were empty. Completely empty. The investment account that had held $1.4 million last time I checked, 3 months ago, showed a balance of $847. The savings account, $1,200. The money market account, $0. I pulled up the transaction history. Transfers, dozens of them, all authorized by joint account holder Elizabeth Harrison. Money moved to accounts I didn't recognize. 50,000 here, 100,000 there. Systematic. Planned. Executed over the past 6 months while I trusted. While I smiled. While I signed whatever Elizabeth put in front of me. Gone. Almost $3 million. Gone. My hands shook so badly I could barely type. I pulled up the house deed. Filed 2 weeks ago. A quitclaim deed transferring ownership from Robert and Elizabeth Harrison to Harrison Family Trust. with Elizabeth listed as sole trustee. My house. The house I'd worked 42 years to pay off. No longer mine. I wasn't prepared for what I found next. The life insurance policies. Both had been changed. Beneficiary updated from Elizabeth Harrison to Rebecca Carter and Daniel Harrison, equal shares. Elizabeth had removed herself entirely. Why would she? Unless she knew she wouldn't need the life insurance money. Unless she already had everything else. Unless keeping me alive was no longer necessary. The thought hit me like ice water. They didn't just want my money. They wanted me gone. Out of the way. Tucked into some cheap nursing home where I'd be drugged and compliant and forgotten while they divided up my life's work. I printed everything. Every statement. Every transfer record. Every document I could find. The printer hummed in the quiet office, spitting out page after page of evidence. By the time I finished, I had a 2-inch stack of papers. Proof. Undeniable proof. I looked at the clock. 3:45 p.m. time to go. Elizabeth, I called out, walking toward the front door. I need to run an errand. I'll be back in time for dinner. She appeared from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel. An errand? Where you going? Just the pharmacy. Need to pick up my blood pressure medication. A flicker of something crossed her face. Suspicion? Concern? But then she smiled. Don't be too long. Dinner's at 6. I won't. I walked out to my car, the stack of documents in my briefcase, and drove to Patricia Simmons's office. My hands were steady on the wheel now. The shock was wearing off. Something else was taking its place. Cold, calculated fury. Patricia Simmons's office was in a brick building downtown. Professional but not flashy. I walked in, gave my name to the receptionist, and was shown into a conference room within minutes. Patricia was late 50s, sharp eyes behind frameless glasses, gray hair cut in a no-nonsense bob. She shook my hand firmly. Mr. Harrison, you said on the phone this was urgent. Tell me what's happening. I opened my briefcase, pulled out the stack of documents, set them on the table between us. My wife and children are stealing from me. They've drained my accounts, transferred ownership of my house, changed my insurance policies, and are planning to put me in a nursing home so they can take control of everything I built over 42 years. Patricia's expression didn't change. She picked up the first document, a bank statement, and began reading. How did you discover this? I came home early today. Heard my wife on the phone. She was talking to my daughter. Said, and I quote, "The old man has no idea we drained his accounts. Just keep pretending everything's normal." Patricia looked up. Did you record this conversation? No. I wasn't thinking clearly. That's all right. We'll work with what we have. She continued reading through the documents. These transfers, they're all authorized by your wife as joint account holder? Yes. And this deed transferred to a family trust with her as sole trustee. Did you sign this? I don't remember. She puts papers in front of me sometimes. Legal documents, estate planning things. Marcus, my son-in-law, he's some kind of financial advisor. They said it was all normal, that we needed to protect our assets. I trusted them. Marcus drafted these documents? I think so. Yes. Patricia set down the papers and looked at me directly. Mr. Harrison, what you're describing is financial elder abuse. It's a crime. Your wife, using her position as your spouse and your trust in her, has systematically stolen nearly $3 million from jointly held accounts. Your son-in-law, operating as a financial advisor, has likely violated his fiduciary duty and possibly committed fraud. The words hung in the air. Financial elder abuse. Crime. Fraud. My family. My wife of 43 years. Criminals. What can I do? My voice came out hoarse. Several things. First, we freeze all remaining assets immediately. I'll draft emergency motions to prevent any further transfers. Second, we file for legal separation and divorce. That removes her authority over your finances. Third, we report this to the district attorney. This isn't just a civil matter. It's criminal theft. Divorce. I said the word like it was foreign. 43 years. We'd have to divorce. Mr. Harrison, your wife has stolen your life savings and is planning to institutionalize you against your will so she and your children can continue stealing. Yes, you need to divorce her. Immediately. I nodded slowly. What about tonight? Tonight? They're coming for dinner. My children. They're probably bringing more papers for me to sign. Documents to transfer more assets. What should I do? Patricia thought for a moment. Do you have a recording device? Your phone? Yes. Then I want you to record everything. Every conversation. Every document they try to get you to sign. Don't let them know you're recording. Don't let them know you know anything. Can you do that? Could I sit at my dinner table with my wife and children and pretend everything was normal while recording them confess to stealing from me? Yes, I said. I can do that. I pulled into my driveway at 5:45 p.m. The house looked the same as it had this morning. Same shutters, same front door, same garden Elizabeth tended every weekend. But everything had changed. This wasn't home anymore. This was enemy territory. I walked inside. Elizabeth was setting the table. She looked up and smiled. Perfect timing. They'll be here any minute. Smells great, I said, and meant it. Whatever else she was, Elizabeth could cook. I went to the bathroom, pulled out my phone, opened the voice recording app, set it to record, and slipped it into my shirt pocket, microphone facing out. Then I flushed the toilet, washed my hands, and walked back out to play the role of the trusting husband. The doorbell rang at exactly 6 p.m. Rebecca and Marcus arrived together. Rebecca hugged me, kissed my cheek. Hi, Daddy. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Like I was already sick, already declining, already ready for the nursing home. I'm fine, sweetheart. Just fine. Marcus shook my hand. Firm grip, confident smile. Good to see you, Robert. Thanks for having us. Daniel arrived 10 minutes later. My son, 28 years old, working as some kind of tech consultant. He'd always been closer to Elizabeth than to me. Mama's boy, I used to joke. Now I understood why. We sat down for dinner. Elizabeth served pot roast, mashed potatoes, green beans. Everyone smiled and talked about work, about the weather, about nothing that mattered. I ate and listened and waited. Halfway through the meal, Marcus cleared his throat. Robert, while we're all here, I want to discuss something. Some estate planning documents I've been working on. Nothing complicated. Just protecting the family's assets. Making sure everything's organized if anything were to happen. If anything were to happen, to me, the 68-year-old man, they were already burying. What kind of documents? I asked, keeping my voice casual. Marcus pulled out a folder from his briefcase. Just some updated trust documentation. We restructured the family trust to be more tax efficient. You and Elizabeth are still the primary beneficiaries, of course, but this protects the assets for Rebecca and Daniel long term. He slid the folder across the table. I opened it. Pages of legal language I didn't understand. Signature lines highlighted in yellow. I don't know, Marcus. This seems complicated. Maybe I should have my own lawyer look at it. A flicker of something crossed his face. Then the smile returned. Of course. But honestly, it's pretty standard stuff. I do this for clients all the time. All it does is protect what you've already worked so hard to build. Your father's right to be cautious, Elizabeth said, her hand covering mine. But Marcus has been so helpful with all of this. And it's really just formalizing what we've already discussed. Remember? We talked about this last month. I didn't remember. Had we talked about it? Or had she talked and I'd nodded and trusted and signed? I really think you should sign it, Dad, Rebecca said. It's for your protection. For all of our protection. Marcus spent a lot of time on this, Daniel added. And it's not like anything's really changing. You and Mom still control everything. 4 of them, all pushing, all smiling, all pretending this was for my benefit. The phone in my pocket recorded every word. I'll think about it, I said. Marcus's smile tightened. The thing is, Robert, there's some time sensitivity here. Tax deadlines, filing requirements. If we don't get this signed by Friday, we'll have to wait another quarter, and that could cost you quite a bit in penalties. Lies. Smooth, practice lies. I'm not signing anything tonight, I said. I need time to review it. Elizabeth's hand squeezed mine. Hard. Honey, Marcus knows what he's doing. He's a professional. You trust him, don't you? I looked at my wife. At the woman I'd trusted for 43 years. At the woman who'd called me the old man and laughed about draining my accounts. I trust my lawyer more. Silence. Complete silence around the table. Rebecca was the first to recover. Your lawyer? Dad, you don't have a lawyer. I do now. Called her this afternoon. Patricia Simmons, elder law specialist. She's reviewing all of our finances and estate documents. Should have her recommendations by the end of the week. I watched the color drain from Elizabeth's face. Watched Marcus's jaw tighten. Watched Rebecca and Daniel exchange panicked glances. Why would you do that without talking to us first? Elizabeth's voice was sharp now, the pretense slipping. Why would you drain our bank accounts without talking to me first? The air left the room. Marcus recovered quickly. Professional training. Robert, I don't know what you think you saw, but I didn't see anything. I heard Elizabeth on the phone this afternoon, talking to Rebecca about how the old man has no idea you drained his accounts, about how I sign whatever you put in front of me, about the nursing home you're planning to dump me in after you steal everything I've worked for. Elizabeth's eyes went wide. You were listening? I live here. I came home early. You weren't expecting me. Dad, you're confused, Rebecca said, her voice soothing, patronizing. Mom was probably talking about Grandma, before she passed. Sometimes Mom gets emotional, and Grandma's been dead for 8 years. And the bank accounts? I checked. $2.8 million reduced to almost nothing. Transfers authorized by Elizabeth over the past 6 months. The house deed transferred to a family trust with Elizabeth as sole trustee. Life insurance beneficiaries changed. One explained that. Rebecca? They looked at each other. A family of conspirators realizing their mark had woken up. We were protecting you, Daniel said weakly, from yourself. You're getting older, making bad decisions. You thought you'd steal from me while I was still breathing instead of waiting for me to die. More efficient that way. Marcus stood up. This conversation is going nowhere. Elizabeth, kids, let's go. We'll sort this out when everyone's calmer. Sit down, I said. I'm not done. I can, because I recorded this entire dinner conversation. Every word, every lie. And tomorrow morning, I'm taking that recording, along with all the financial documents Patricia found, straight to the district attorney's office. The room went cold. You recorded us? Elizabeth's voice was small now. That's illegal. No, it's not. Not in this state. One-party consent. And I'm the party that consented. Every word you've spoken tonight. All the manipulation, all the lies, all of you pushing me to sign documents without legal review. It's all on tape. Evidence of financial elder abuse. Fraud. Conspiracy. Rebecca started crying. Daddy, please. We didn't mean. Don't. I stood up. Don't call me Daddy. Don't cry. Don't pretend you care. You planned this. All of you. You stole from me. You called me the old man. You laughed about how I'd sign anything. You found a nursing home to dump me in. So don't you dare sit at my table and cry and pretend you're the victim here. I pulled the phone from my pocket, stopped the recording. The silence was deafening. I want you out, I said. All of you, out of my house. Now. This is my house too, Elizabeth said, voice hardening. You can't kick me out. Watch me. Patricia's filing for emergency legal separation first thing tomorrow morning. Restraining orders preventing you from accessing any remaining assets. Eviction notice. All of it. You've got 48 hours to find somewhere else to live. Marcus grabbed his briefcase. We'll fight this. You're clearly experiencing cognitive decline. Any judge will see that. Really? The recording I just made sure sounds like I'm pretty sharp. And I've got 42 years of employment records, performance reviews, medical documentation, versus you've got falsified estate documents and bank statements showing systematic theft. Good luck with that argument. Rebecca stood, still crying. Mom, come on. We need to go. I'm not leaving, Elizabeth said. This is my home. Was your home? You gave that up when you decided to rob me blind. I walked to the front door and opened it. Get out. They left, one by one. Daniel first, not meeting my eyes. Rebecca sobbing. Marcus with his briefcase and his documents and his lies. And finally Elizabeth, who stopped in the doorway and looked at me with something like hatred. I gave you 43 years, she said, and I gave you everything I had. Apparently that wasn't enough. She walked out. I closed the door behind her, locked it, and stood in the sudden silence of my empty house. The pot roast sat half-eaten on the table. The documents Marcus had brought were still in their folder. Evidence. I'd bag it all up tomorrow. Give it to Patricia. Give it to the police. But tonight, I just stood in my house, not theirs, and let the reality wash over me. My family was gone. My wife, my children, the people I trusted most. Gone. But my life, what was left of it, was mine again. The next morning, I met Patricia at her office at 8 a.m., brought her the recording from dinner, the documents Marcus had tried to get me to sign, printouts of every financial transfer I could find. She listened to the recording twice, made notes, nodded. This is good, she said. Very good. Clear evidence of conspiracy, attempted fraud, elder financial abuse. With this in the bank records, we have a strong case, both civil and criminal. What happens now? Now we file. Emergency motion for legal separation, asset freezing, restraining orders. I'll coordinate with the district attorney's office for the criminal investigation. This will move fast. Robert, are you ready for that? Will she go to jail? Will they all go to jail? Possibly. Depends on what the DA wants to pursue. Financial elder abuse can carry serious prison time. Fraud, conspiracy. If Marcus was operating as your financial advisor, he violated fiduciary duty, which is a felony. Yes, they could all face charges. 43 years of marriage, ending in handcuffs in courtrooms and prison sentences. Do it, I said. File everything. Patricia nodded. One more thing. Where are you staying? If Elizabeth hasn't left the house yet. I changed the locks last night. Called a 24-hour locksmith. She can't get back in. Good. Keep it that way. Don't let any of them in. Don't talk to them without me present. They'll try to manipulate you, to convince you this is all a misunderstanding. Stay strong. I'm done being manipulated. I left her office feeling lighter than I had in years. Maybe ever. The next weeks were chaos. Elizabeth tried to get back into the house. Police turned her away. Rebecca called crying, begging for forgiveness. I blocked her number. Daniel sent emails claiming I was mentally unstable. I forwarded them to Patricia as evidence. Marcus disappeared. Just vanished. One day he was there. The next his office was closed. His phone disconnected. He'd run. Patricia said that was common. Financial fraudsters who know they're caught often flee before charges are filed. The DA moved forward with criminal charges. Elizabeth was arrested 3 weeks later. Financial elder abuse, conspiracy to commit fraud, theft over $100,000. Her bail was set at $250,000. She couldn't make it. Stayed in jail for 2 weeks until her parents borrowed against their house to get her out. Rebecca and Daniel were charged as accessories. Lesser charges, but charges nonetheless. Rebecca took a plea deal, testified against her mother and Marcus in exchange for probation. Daniel fought it, lost, got 2 years. The house went on the market, part of the divorce settlement. Elizabeth wanted half. Patricia argued she'd already stolen half and then some. The judge agreed. Elizabeth got nothing. I got the house, sold it, walked away with $600,000. Combined with what Patricia managed to freeze and recover from the accounts, about $400,000 that hadn't been moved offshore yet, I had enough. Not what I'd started with, but enough. I moved to a small town in Vermont, rented a cabin on a lake, spent my days reading, fishing, learning to paint, things I'd always meant to do someday. Elizabeth served 14 months, got out on parole. I heard she was living with her parents in Florida. Heard she told everyone I'd been abusive, controlling, that she'd been the victim. Let her tell her story. I had mine, backed by bank statements and recordings and court judgments. Rebecca tried to reach out once. Letter forwarded through Patricia's office. Said she was sorry. Said Marcus had manipulated her. Said she wanted to rebuild our relationship. I read the letter once, then burned it in my fireplace. Some bridges, once burned, stay burned. Before we finish, I need to pause. If this story is touching something deep inside you, if you're seeing echoes of your own experiences or realizing that financial abuse can come from the people you trust most, please don't just watch and move on. Subscribe to Wilken Vengeance. Turn on notifications. Share this video. And in the comments, tell me, have you ever discovered betrayal that shattered everything you believed? Have you ever had to choose between family and protecting yourself? Your comments create a community of witnesses, people who refuse to let these truths be buried. 6 months after the trials ended, I sat on my cabin porch watching the sun set over the lake. The Vermont autumn was beautiful, leaves turning gold and red, air crisp and clean. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Dad? Rebecca's voice. I should have hung up, should have blocked the number. But something made me stay on the line. What do you want? I wanted you to know I'm pregnant. You're going to be a grandfather. I sat with that information. A grandchild. Part of me. Part of Rebecca. Part of the family that had tried to destroy me. Congratulations, I said. I was hoping, maybe when the baby's born, you want to meet her. Or him. I know I don't deserve it. I know I hurt you. But the baby didn't do anything wrong. She was right. The baby was innocent. But I was old. I was tired. And I'd spent 43 years trusting people who saw me as a resource to be drained. No, I said, I don't think so. Silence on the other end. Then, I understand. I'm sorry, Dad, for everything. So am I? I hung up, blocked the number, went back to watching the sunset. Some people might think I was being cruel, punishing an innocent grandchild for the sins of the parents. Maybe they're right. But I'd given everything once. My trust, my love, my life savings, and it had nearly destroyed me. I wasn't giving anything more. The sun sank below the trees, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. My cabin was small but comfortable. My savings were modest but sufficient. My days were quiet but peaceful. I was alone, completely alone. No wife, no children, no family at all. And for the first time in 68 years, I was free. Free from expectations, free from manipulation, free from people who saw me as the old man with accounts to drain and assets to steal. Just free. I stood up, went inside, poured myself a whiskey, sat down at the small desk where I'd been learning to paint, picked up a brush, started working on the landscape I'd been attempting, the lake at sunset, the mountains in the distance. It wasn't very good. I was a beginner, but it was mine. Created by my hands, for my own pleasure, with no one demanding anything from it or from me. That night, I slept deeply. No nightmares. No anxiety. No worry about what paper someone would try to get me to sign tomorrow, what account would be drained next, what new scheme was being planned behind my back. Just sleep. Real, deep, peaceful sleep. And in the morning, I woke up and started the next chapter of my life. The one where I belonged to myself. Where my time and money and trust weren't commodities to be stolen, where I was just Robert Harrison, not a mark, not a victim, not the old man, just me, and that was enough.